Okay, so this is my environmental science final project. This is actually the fourth take. I have had to switch computers many times, but we are here now. So, what can I do to lower my carbon footprint? That was addressed and asked of everyone at the beginning of the semester, and thinking about that actually took about a week to decide what I was going to work on because I already practice so many sustainable things in my home. We use secondhand stores. We have cut out most of our plastic intake. We have lowered our water intake and just a lot of stuff. So thinking about it was kind of challenging. What I decided on was my transportation. So what aspects of my life contribute to my carbon footprint the most? And it is definitely what I drive. So this car right here is mine. It is a 2000 Chevy Silverado. So one, it is old, and two, it is a truck, and I have added stuff onto it which makes it even heavier and less environmentally friendly. So it costs about $150 a month in gas, which is a lot of money, and that means I'm putting a lot of pollutants in the air. So since this quarantine thing, the only time I ever go out is with my sister if we go grocery shopping or if we'll go surfing in the morning when no one's out. Um, and we take her car, which is a Honda Element, which is a lot more environmentally friendly. And it is only $70 a month to fill up with gas usually. Now it is way less because we're driving like once or twice a week rather than the $150 that I normally pay. So I compared these two vehicles on the US Department of Energy, and my car says it has 17 miles per gallon, which is actually a lot less. It's actually probably about 14 or 15, considering all the add-ons I put on the car. So it's even less environmentally friendly. But my sister's has 24, which is really good compared to mine. And the most interesting thing that I found on this page was the energy impact score right here. So it shows how much gasoline in barrels I use a year. And it's probably over 20 barrels, which one barrel is 42 gallons. So 20 barrels that I contribute a year. And this was a very eye-opening thing to see. So what I did before quarantine worked really, really well. I would walk the kids I nanny to and from school, and it worked really well. The first time I did it, it was awesome, and I did it every single day after until we went into the shelter in place. So the kid I nanny in the morning, his name is Nick. He's 9 years old. I don't have a photo of him because I'm not allowed to take pictures of him. But I noticed just from walking to school, he was in a better mood every day. And that was super awesome because I could tell he doesn't really get a lot of attention at home and he doesn't really go outside a lot. So just having that time for him really put him in that better mood and was excited for him to come to my house more. It also made a definite start to our day. We noticed that we were happier. Like he said, he was in a better mood. So on the documentary that we watched on being the change for our recent assignment, the mom in the documentary, she takes her kids to school on bikes or walks them to school. And she said it made a definite start to their day, which is something I really was thinking about when I watched that documentary. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. I noticed my day was starting a lot better and I had a really good starting point to my day. So that was awesome. And the third thing that I gained from walking to school was community with the other parents. And that was super rad because I got to meet the parents. I got to kind of see how they approach things with their kids. I got to see all the fun Karens of the school. And I got a new babysitting job, and that was super awesome because I'm always looking for those. And Nick actually met a few new friends from walking to school, so that was super fun. And that is my right here. That's my dog Eddie, and Nick loves walking him to school, so that was super fun to see. So after I stopped driving because we weren't allowed to leave the house, my mom and I really focused on our gardening. So we had blackberries already, but we moved them into this cool planter in the back where they could grow better and produce more. They are delicious. And we also have these tomato plants that we planted. We do tomatoes every year, and they produce very well every year also. So we decided to do those again, and we usually make pasta sauce and pizza sauce and anything you can think of that has tomatoes in it. Delicious. We also did peppers and cantaloupe this year, and we have not done those before. So I'm very excited to see how those turn out and how those are going to work. But just growing our own food so we don't have to, one, go to the store, and it saves us money because this is very easy and very cheap. Because my brother used to work at Ace Hardware, so we get plants for free. So that was super awesome. And one thing that my mom and I have been working on for the past couple years that we just officially finished this year is our drought resistant yard. So this is half of our front yard. There's more past the cars that I'll get to later. But we never have to water anything in our yard, and that is the coolest thing ever. One, because my mom, the initial goal of this whole project was so she wouldn't have to water and she wouldn't have to pay the water bill so high, because there are usually about 15 people in our house at a time, so that's a lot of water. So all of these plants, they all started, most of them started when they were about this big, the size of like a golf ball, and now they're huge, and some of these trees are big too. That one has always been the big tree. But like these cactuses on the right, they started really small, and it's just so cool to see them grow, and we never have to water them, and they're beautiful all year round. So this is the backyard. We introduced native plants, and that was really cool. I learned about that in my field biology class this year with Cami Algiers, and she really introduced me and got me excited about native plants and taking out invasive species. So one of the things that my mom and I did, which was really sad because they were very pretty, we figured out tropical milkweed is really bad for butterfly migration. And it messes up their whole migration pattern. So we had to take those out, which sucked because they had very beautiful orange flowers, but we put in native milkweed, which are still beautiful, but just not the same. But it's cool because we have a lot of butterflies now. So that really helped. And then the wood chips. So our yard used to be grass, but we took it all out so that we wouldn't have to water it anymore. So all of this wood chips is a lot. We partner with the city, and anytime they do tree trimming, we take the wood chips from them so they don't have to haul them away. And we replace the wood chips about every year. And the wood chips that we haul away, we bring to the community garden, and they cover it in between their plots. And then we take the new stuff and put it down, and it makes the yard smell amazing for a couple weeks. And that really works because, one, it saves us a lot of money because that's a lot of wood chips to buy. And two, you don't have the plastic wrapping of the wood chips you would buy in a store. And three, it doesn't promote logging because we don't need any new wood. It's wood from the other side of the street where they're trimming the trees. So that's super awesome. And I really like how we've built that community with the city workers. And speaking of community, from one of our assignments, it was about, I believe it was Oregon. They had the streets at any intersection. They painted the streets beautifully, and they had like coffee stations, and they'd get together and do stuff. So that really got me thinking about the community in my street. So as you can see here, I live on a cul-de-sac, and I live at the end. So we have this reading bench right here, and it's also in this picture down here. And it is really cool because people can come read on it, and they can hang out and talk with each other. This was actually taken the day or a couple days after it rained, so there's no cushions or anything on it, so you can't sit on it. But normally it looks pretty cool. And we also have a community garden. So we all grow different plants, and some of us, like my neighbors, have chickens, so we get their eggs. And anytime we produce any sort of fruit or vegetable or anything in our backyard, we'll share it with the whole street, and we'll kind of trade, and that's super cool, and it brings us together. And the third thing is basketball. So we have a basketball hoop here and here, and one, it gets us outside, and two, the majority of the people on our street are basketball players. So they either played in college, I think we have one pro player, and then a lot of their kids are also D1 players. So especially during COVID, we play a lot of basketball outside, so that brings us together. And also this plant over here, this weird, the one with the yellow stalk. So it has never done that before this year, but it shot up this giant, like, I don't even know what it is, but it has a bunch of yellow flowers on it. And it's really cool because it's attracted a ton of bees. So the flowers in the whole neighborhood, not even the street, are doing really well because we have a lot of bees. And the coolest thing is these bees are not aggressive and they have not ever gone near me. So that's super awesome. So I can admire them from far away and they can benefit the flowers in the whole neighborhood without people wanting them out. So that's super awesome. And that is my presentation. Thank you so much for watching. I have loved this semester. I really enjoyed learning with all of you and the definitely unique way of learning. I think I learned more than I would have in a traditional setting, and I got a lot more out of it, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you.